So anyway, this is our last investigation here with the monkey and the contour variety, the birds and everything else. But I jumped across from these. If you've been following my videos, you'll see that we've started here and I've given an explanation for most of the structures that you can see here. There's one or two that I've missed out, but I will have to go back to them. But I've given you an idea of where I'm coming from with all this. If you go and have a look at my other videos, I've gone into quite a bit of detail on each mesa. But this particular area I jumped over. I had to explain this first before I could try and attempt to make it understand what's here. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is just rotate that 90 degrees. Okay, so because I want to show you these particular structures here. Okay, because when I look at these, I do not see rocks. I don't see sand, although the image is heavily obfuscated and there's so much hidden, or they've attempted to hide in this image. You know, we're only seeing a small percentage of what's actually here, but you know, we can glean a hell of a lot from it. But I can assure you there's so much in this image that ESA have hidden from us. NASA completely hide everything. The only thing NASA have ever really done in which you can glean some information from is the face. But even that's heavily obscured. The real face. And all the other NASA images might look fantastic, and if you're interested in looking at fake rocks and sand, because that's what they are. They're all doctored and manipulated. I'll say that for nothing. The ESA one is manipulated. It's obscured. They use this stupid orangey colour. But having said that, it's much more detailed than the NASA images, any NASA images of Cydonia. And we can see quite, the resolution is 13.7 meters per pixel, 46 feet per pixel. So we can, large structures we can see with quite good clarity, and we can get an idea of exactly what we're looking at. They look a little bit weird because this culture loved to do images within images, pictures within pictures. There's a duality about everything, depending on the angle at which you look at the structures and the image, you'll see something slightly different. And because of the contour variety that they used, the duality, they could put a hell of a lot of information into a relatively small area. So you put a lot of data and a lot of information in a small area, and even to an extent could make the rocks come alive, if you like, through movements. Absolute geniuses they were. Okay, so like I say, when I look at these, I see sculptures along here, mainly of just like animals and birds. There's the bird that I described last time. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you come back here, a little bit of it's subjective, but I'll just give you my idea of what I think we're looking at. Okay. Like this shape resembles, to me, something from this angle. It looks like maybe the head of a large animal or something like that, and it's taken a bite, a chunk out of this animal, which looks like, to me, it looks like a fish. Yeah, so you can see, like say the back here, that looks like a tail fin. This square area looks like a tail fin here. Then you've got the circular part, and then you've got the pointed snout here, and then the rest of the body, and you've got the eye. it looks like some kind of flatfish or something like that. And I can assure you that there's loads of other stuff in this, but I just want to point out the main features that I can see. So to me, that looks like the head of a large animal. It's taking a bite out of this fish, because a lot of features on these Martian sculptures represent like the survival of the fittest type thing, where you'll get a larger creature eating or attacking a smaller creature. I've seen that quite a bit on Mars images, because they had some kind of survival of the fittest thing going on, this culture. So anyway, I think that could represent some kind of flatfish. Now we go to the next structure here, which is really unusual, but it's great at the same time. If I just let me do a layer. Okay, I'm gonna draw around it for you. I hate doing this, but sometimes I've got to make myself clear in what I'm saying. Now again, I know the image isn't isn't the best in the world. Just let me. Okay, can't do that. But okay, so if you come round here. Now it comes out there as if the wall or the cliff has collapsed inwards, because don't forget, these are very ancient. They're very ancient eroded features. We're lucky that we can see them in the detail that we can see them. Okay, so that is what I can see. When I look at that, I see something that resembles a deer with a long neck, and it's got an elephant's trunk. The nearest analogy on Earth might be an elephant. That's the only thing I can relate it to, but it's not, because it's got like a roundish head. It's like it seems smaller to me, so but I don't know. But that's the nearest analogy anyway, and I think that's like a trunk. There's the eye. Okay, there's. Just let me go back a little bit on that. See, there's even like a square area there, like like a courtyard or something. But it's quite hard to see. Okay, so that to me is I don't know. Let's call it an unknown animal with no known analogy on the planet Earth. So if I just delete that. In fact, if you just bring that up, I did colour one in for you, okay, and that is what I see. Okay, that is exactly what I see. It may have a horn there, but I'm not sure. You can discount that if you want. I'm not too sure, but that's what I can see. There's a square area there, and there's the trunk. Okay, right, so let's go back to that. Now, the second part of this image relates to this here, underneath it, which I think represents two creatures. Okay, it's one creature looks like a whale, if you like. This here looks like a whale to me. They have the mouth there. That looks like a whale, this end. Okay. Sorry about that. I should have saved the what's her name. I should have saved the layer, but I didn't. It's just me, just being clumsy. So okay, don't worry guys, we'll get there eventually. So we just blur. It just takes away the blocks on a little tiny bit. Okay, so I hope you can see that there. Now, so I think the end of this is a whale. Okay, it might be too difficult for you to see, I'm not sure, just discount the back a little bit, but I do actually think that this represents two creatures, a whale, and the other creature is the unknown creature, if you like, which is this here. So let me do another layer. Okay, so here we have like this, it's like a whale, but I suppose it's like an analogy of a whale or something like that, but it's got like this slot-like mouth. It's got the body of the whale, but it's got like a slot-like mouth, if you know what I mean. Here, see this here. So it's some kind of aquatic animal. Just let me delete that layer. Okay, I don't know whether you can see that or not. Just bear with us 1 second. I've done coloured this one in as well. So can you see that? It's got like a flat-faced animal with a slot-like mouth, as if it was some kind of like a bottom feeder or something like that. Yeah, you see the eyes. There's actually another funny-looking creature here, but I don't want to complicate this too much. It's got like 2 eyes and like little tendrils here, and that's like the nose part. You see the nose here on this, but it's a funny looking thing. Well, I don't want to complicate the image any more than what I have to. It's already quite complicated trying to explain to you what it is now. Okay, so if we go back to the main image again, just let me recap. Okay, so we've got this, which could be a large creature taking a bite out of this fish like sculpture, and then in front of the fish is this animal which looks like a deer with an elephant's trunk. Yeah, and then part of its neck, but a separate entity, is this flat-faced animal here. See, with and its slot-like mouth, as if it maybe was some kind of bottom feeder or something like that. Yeah, and then the other side of it here reminds me of like a whale. I know it's very difficult to see. I appreciate that, but what I'm trying to explain to you is that these are all animals, and they're pretty clear as well. I can see them really, really clear. I know not everybody can, and you know, I just ask you to bear with me sometimes if you can't recognise these for what I'm pointing out. You know, the bird, the deer with the elephant's trunk, the fish, and all the other things, and this unusual looking creature with the slot-like mouth here. Yeah. Now we haven't quite finished with this particular area, because let me go back. Okay, now I've gone back to where north is up. Okay, so there's the deer-like creature with the trunk, the elephant's trunk there. Okay, and there's the body of the the whale and the whale analogy, if you like. And now here is another creature here, which is really, really unusual. Again, there's no real analogy for it. It's very unusual. I'll just get my pencil tool and I'll try my best to see. Sometimes there's things going on there which the resolution doesn't bring out. See, this is like the body, if you like, of this thing, and then it basically comes down here. And can you see that at the bottom, like it's like circular here? See that? So that is basically the and again I think it's aquatic, because can you see these here? These what look like random rocks, but they're not. These represent like tentacles or tendrils, if you like. See all these little bits here, which emphasises to me that it is some kind of aquatic creature. Yeah, just let me I'll try and, I've coloured it again, and this is what I see. Okay, this is what I see here. It's got like a snout, it's got a head, it's got a neck, it's got a thick body, and then it narrows into like a long tube with a round circular opening at the bottom. So when you look at it, it makes sense as an animal, somewhere to take in food. A neck, it's got a stomach area, and then it's got a body, and then it's got to excrete waste here, and then all these like ribbon type structures, I think are tendrils. You know, all these little bright spots, I think they are tendrils. Yeah, and that's what I think we're looking at there. So let me get rid of this layer. Okay, and that's here. I hope you can see that. See the head, the neck, the body, and all these are tendrils coming off it. Yeah. Okay, just let me okay, so we've got this large headed creature taking a bite out of this fish, and then we've got this creature, looks like a deer with a elephant's trunk, and then underneath it we've got this funny looking thing like some kind of bottom feeder. And then if we cross over here, this is quite an interesting little mesa, because if we just rotate that 90 degrees, oops, the wrong end. Okay, so there now, so we've gone across to here now, and we're looking at this feature. Now I know at first it just looks like a random jumble of rocks and everything else, but it's not. It's definitely not, honestly. To me, when I look at this, I see the outline of what may be a bird. Yeah, you know, you've got like the body, you've got the beak, you've got the head, the beak, and there's the going towards the legs. You can't actually see legs, but you can see like an artificial square like courtyard like feature here, and then there's its tail feathers. So it reminds me well, like when I first saw it, it reminded me of like something like a peacock or something like that. Yeah. So I think that's a bird, with tail feathers, and it's just over. That's what, when I very first saw this, that's what first come to my mind when I seen it. Yeah, and it's opposite all these structures. Now, obviously, they haven't built these structures for nothing. There must have been a reason for it, and I'm trying to explain the reason of why I think they built these structures. Okay. Just let me go to this. That if you go another 90 degrees on this, by the way, you can see like sculptured faces. I don't know whether you can see that. Let me do a little layer. Yeah, so there's one eye here. There's the other eye. It's got a big, strong nose, and then you've got the mouth here. I think there's like a tube that comes down here into the mouth. Yeah, can you see that? And then there's like a pathway here, and that goes into the mouth there. Yeah, and then you can see where the top part of the face comes down here. Quite a good likeness of a human face, that. Okay, so that's what I can see there, that face, right? But there's something a little tiny bit unusual about it. So if I just delete that layer again, right? If you look at this eye here, this particular eye, and then come across, then you see another eye here, and then we can see like a nose. This is like a nose area here, so that's like the nose, and then we've got the mouth here again, and this is like say there's that pathway, and then the pathway comes round again into the other mouth. So that's, and there's a pathway here. See this is a pathway going into the eye, because the eyes are actually openings into this structure. Okay, so there's actually a face here, and then there's a face there, and that's just like part of the duality of these structures. Okay, but look at the strong nose on that particular face, on that tube. It's brilliant. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, so that's on top of this like peacock structure, if you like, this bird. And like I said, they built these for a reason. They're not, they haven't just built them for nothing, no reason at all. And I had to find an analogy on Earth as to what we were looking at, and what I think it is, and it obviously, guys, it's only my conjecture. Of course, I it's just a guess. This, I'm not 100% sure. Okay, but just let me rotate this back. Right, the nearest analogy I could make to this, and this is the reason why I had to explain this first, right, is that when I put all these together, especially this deer with the elephant's trunk, this whale-like creature, the peacock here, which I think is a peacock when you turn it round. The only thing I could relate these to, right, was was something out of Hindu mythology, right? And it was called a Makara. And this is it was like a hybrid creature, right? Excuse me. And the Hindus described it as having the head of a terrestrial animal, a land animal, which was usually like sort of like an elephant's trunk, a deer's head, or a stag's head, and its body was like a fish or a seal. So it was sort of, the front part was like a land animal, and the hind part was an aquatic animal, right? And sometimes the tail of the animal was depicted as a peacock, as a peacock's tail. So you'd have the elephant's trunk, a deer-like head, a seal-like body, and some parts of Indian culture, Hinduism, portrayed it as a peacock's tail. Yeah. Now, when I looked at those features in Cydonia, I thought to myself, well, those features in Cydonia relate to this mythical hybrid creature from India with the elephant's trunk and the fish-like body. And the most amazing connection about this, right, is the fact that it was half land animal, it was half aquatic, and the main god connected to it for our particular purpose was a god called Kamadeva, right? And the Makara was the insignia, if you like, of this Indian god, this Kamadeva. But the most fascinating thing about it is that the Kamadeva is the Indian equivalent of Eros, which was the Greek god of love. Cupid was the Roman god of love, and the Kamadeva was the Hindu equivalent of Eros and Cupid, right? And the Makara, the hybrid creature, was connected to the Hindu god Kamadeva, who was the god of love and affection and desire, right? So here we have like terrestrial animal, and its body is integrated into an aquatic animal, and it's even got an elephant's trunk, and that is some kind of large animal. I even think that could be a whale on the left hand side. And then when you cross over, you've got what I think is possibly a bird with a peacock's tail. There, see, with the head and the body, and this like valley here is like the peacock's tail, and then you've got this funny looking creature here. Now, the most amazing thing about it is we've got the divine lovers, Isis and Osiris. Yeah. Now, what's the coincidence of having the Kamadeva, the Hindu god of love and affection and attraction, connected with this right next door So these structures are right next door to the divine lovers. It cannot be a coincidence. It cannot be. I know you might think I'm stretching it here and I'm reaching out and I'm adding dots up that don't exist, but you know what have I always called these? If you've been watching the last videos, I've said all along that this was Isis, that's Seth, this was Isis, and they were kissing here, and you know, because they are in Egyptian mythology, they were defined as the divine lovers, and here we have something which, you know, I'm suggesting is related to Hindu mythology, and it's a hybrid creature called the Karma Deva, and the Karma Deva actually rode in Hindu mythology. The Karma Deva, the equivalent of Eros and Cupid, rode, his mount was the Makara, which was this strange river god, sea god, and he rode that. That was his mount. That was it, and it was, the front part was terrestrial animal and the bottom part was aquatic. And I'm showing you aquatic animals intermingled with like a terrestrial animal with a elephant's trunk. I could be miles off here, but I don't think I am. I think the connection's too strong, and there's no way that can be a coincidence. I hope I've made myself clear on this. I know I tend to repeat things, but sometimes I'm not sure whether I'm actually communicating the ideas that I've got, because sometimes I get confused myself with them. There's that much runs through my mind sometimes. So we've got these structures, which I think are animals, which relate to terrestrial animal with a trunk of some sort, like a deer, and it's intermingled with aquatic animals. And in Hindu mythology, you've got the hybrid animal called the Makara, that was connected to the Hindu god of love, affection, attraction, and the Karma Deva was the equivalent of Eros and Cupid. And who do we have next door to these creatures? We have the divine lovers Osiris and Isis. Right. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've tried my best to explain this to you, and I hope I succeeded. I know I've stumbled my way through this a little tiny bit, but it was quite complicated. I'm hoping that you understand where I'm coming from, because I think what we're looking at in this image is very, very important. I think there's a lot of templates. This is the raw template for a lot of ancient mythologies that we can find on Earth. There's so much in this image, it's untrue. Now, you know, I'm presuming that this image is a true image that Essa have put out there. I'm presuming this is what they've taken of Mars, and I have checked it with other images from NASA, as far as you can check with NASA, and all these structures do correlate with each other. So I'm pretty certain that we're looking at a genuine image. These are genuine images from the European Space Agency, heavily doctored, but they are so important to our understanding of our own history, and that, as an example, when I'm trying to describe these structures to you and the connection with our own mythology, and I think these are the raw templates, and we might even be in an amazing lucky situation where we can see how a myth has actually started and how it's evolved. And you know, this could be how the myth of that particular mythological creature, the Makara, the sea monster, the river goddess, how it's come about from these structures, and they've arrived on Earth, and then over the thousands upon thousands of years, they've become the mythology that we understand. And especially if you're a Hindu, you will know it much better than me. I mean, I've stumbled my way through this, but I'm starting to genuinely believe that what we're seeing in this image are the raw templates for many, many myths on Earth. And there's even going to be a few that, you know, we as Christians will recognise straight away when I show you them and when you see them later on, further down the line. Okay then, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you understood where it was coming from, and I'll see you next video. Good night, guys, all the best.